Welcome to Yum Paleo. Today I'm going to be doing a pork dish. So I call these pork cups. What we're going to do is we've got some pork here, we've got some lettuce, and we're going to wrap them up and we're going to put a really nice filling in with them as well. So ingredients wise, I've got about 600 grams of diced pork. I've got some tomatoes, some lettuce, some carrots all to go in there, also some mushrooms, and we're going to put a lovely sauce over the pork, which is going to be a bit of honey, some orange and some sesame seeds. So what I have done is just before we started is I've preheated our oven. So I've put that onto fan bake 200 degrees, or if you're in Fahrenheit it's 400. And what I've done here is I've just chopped up some sweet potato and I've put it on an oven dish and I've glazed it with some olive oil. I'm going to pop that into the oven, and we're going to also have these with some sweet potato fries or chips, whatever you like to call them. So I'm going to pop these in now. Right, and we're going to get started on our sauce for our pork. So I'm going to pop in some honey. We're going to do orange honey, and we're going to do a few sesame seeds. Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to slice up the oranges. Brilliant. And what I am going to do is put in we're going to do 2 tablespoons of honey. We're going to squeeze in some orange juice. So I'm going to squeeze in all 4 of these, which is just 2 oranges halved. Right, so now that's done, I'm going to grab once we just take off all the honey off there, I'm going to add in some black pepper to that, and we're also going to sprinkle in just a few at this stage, some sesame seeds, just a wee handful, not many at all, and we're going to give this a stir around. So if you want to, you can always marinate this and leave it in the fridge a bit longer, but we're not today. Alright, so what I'm actually going to do, instead of putting this in the pan just yet, because pork doesn't take that long to cook, we're going to do our filling for our lettuce cups. So I'm going to leave that for another 5 minutes or so before we put that in the pan, and we're going to start to prep our lettuce, tomato and all this kind of stuff for our filling. So we're going to, I'll chop up the tomatoes first. So what we're going to do with these is we want these diced. So they're in little diced chunks, just like that, in bite-sized bits. So I'm using 3, but again, depending on how many people you're actually cooking for. So I'm cooking today for 5 of us, and I'm thinking we've got quite a lot here, so I might just chop up 2 for now. So that's 2 chopped up, all of it that we can. So that's 2, so that's what I'm going to use for now. I'm also going to grate some of these carrots. So, and again we're going to chop them up a bit the same as we did with the tomato. So these go in the filling as well. There's a bit of a crunch to it. So I'm going to circle them. Then I'll go back, oh, and lose one on the floor and dice them. And then next what we're going to do is I'm going to chop up the mushrooms, because we're going to put the pork in the pan and then the mushrooms are going to join the pork in the pan and cook and heat through while they're finishing off. So mushrooms don't take long in there at all. So I'm just going to do one carrot. You don't need to do actually a lot of either, because you do have quite a bit of filling going into these. There's our carrot chopped. So I'm also going to do now the mushroom. And again, I probably won't use all of these. I probably aim to use about 8 to 10 mushrooms, and again we're going to dice them as well. So they're going to be in small chunks also. Right, so I'm going to finish chopping these mushrooms and I'll see you back here just a few seconds, and we're going to turn the pork on and we're going to start cooking. Okay, now that I've chopped up all the mushroom, what we're going to do is we're going to cook our pork. So I've just turned my pan on to preheat. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, without putting the pork in there just yet, put some of that juice in there to bubble up, and then add your pork. A lovely sweet smell. Now that's the honey I can smell. It smells great. So we're going to let that cook and simmer away in there. Now I am just going to pop the lid on this and let that go. Now I've just got this on low. So while that's cooking away, we've done our tomatoes, we've done our carrot. Our mushrooms are going to get added into there very shortly. What we are going to do now is do our lettuce. So, actually, before I do the lettuce, I am just going to add to the pork with a little bit of garlic and a little bit of ginger. Now I'm going to grate that into this just to give it some extra flavour. So, now do be careful for your fingers. So I've just used here 1 clove. Do be careful when you get right down to the end near your fingers. And I'm also going to grate in a wee bit of ginger, but I'm just taking that skin off around it. We're going to do the same thing. Grate in just a small amount of that, just to give it some extra flavour. Perfect, and I'm going to let that soak in its own juice and cook away. So you can give it a wee toss. As you can see, it's starting to go nice and brown on the bottom. Perfect. Put the lid on. Now do remember that you've got those sweet potato fries in the oven. Keep an eye on them as well. Right, so with the lettuce cups, what we're going to do is aim to break off. Now I have pulled away the top 2 leaves, and we are not not going to use them just because they are quite horrible. So these ones are quite big, lettuce cups. So peel away the leaves, and then what we're going to do is we're going to wash them, just to really make sure they're nice and clean and there's no dirt on them or anything like that. So now, like I said, these are quite big ones, so perfect. So this is what we want, these ones in here, the wee cup formation ones. Right, so now that we've got that out, all those out, what we're going to do is we're going to give them a wee wash. So making sure you've got the cold water going. I'm just going to move my bowl to behind us there. If you've got a salad spinner, you could also use that as well. Just be careful not to break them, because we do want them in a nice shape. Just make sure you give them a rinse, check that all the dirt's off them, and then that's good to go. So I'm going to keep doing this. Give your pork a wee toss in a few minutes, check on your sweet potatoes, and I'll see you back here soon when we add the mushrooms. Alright, so now that I've washed all that lettuce, we're going to add in our mushrooms to this mix. So I'm going to take a handful over, and it goes straight in. So the mushrooms only need to be sort of heated through. Good, and give them a bit of a toss. Right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get ready with our plates so we can start putting the rest of our filling into our cups. So all we've got to add is the meat and mushrooms on top. I'm going to let them go for another couple of minutes, not long, and we'll be all good. Alright, so now that our pork and mushrooms are done, we're going to turn this off. And I'm also going to grab our chips out of the oven because they're done. So I'm just going to sit them up there. Alright, and we're going to dish up. Right. Brilliant. So what I've done is I've just sprinkled in some tomato and some carrot into that. We're going to add in some meat, sprinkle some over the top, along with a few sesame seeds. And we're going to add our fries on the side. So I hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you again soon for another great recipe. Bye for now.